Hi, I'm Blake, 28 years old, software engineer, and up until 2 years ago, I thought I had a pretty solid relationship with my dad. We weren't best friends or anything, but we'd grab beers on Sundays, talk about sports, the usual father-son stuff. Then he met Vanessa at some corporate retreat, and everything changed overnight. Blake, I need you to understand something, Dad said during one of our last normal conversations. Vanessa makes me feel alive again. Your mother and I were done years before the divorce. I get that, Dad. I'm happy you found someone. I just think you're moving kind of fast, that's all. Fast? I'm 53 years old. How much time do you think I have to waste? I should have seen the red flags then. Should have noticed how he started canceling our Sunday meetups, how he'd cut our phone calls short whenever Vanessa walked into the room. But I was busy with my own life, planning my future with Sarah, my girlfriend of 3 years. Sarah noticed before I did. Your dad didn't come to your promotion dinner last week, she said one evening, curled up on our couch. That's the third time he's bailed this month. He's busy with wedding planning. You know how it is. Blake, honey, he didn't even call to congratulate you. He sent a text. 2 words. Congrats, son. What are you saying? I'm saying Vanessa's got him on a pretty short leash, and you're pretending not to notice. The real wake-up call came 3 months after they got married. My sister Emma called me at work, and I could hear she'd been crying. Blake, are you sitting down? Em, what's wrong? Is Mom okay? Mom's fine. It's Dad. I just left his house. And? And Vanessa told me I'm not welcome there anymore unless I call 48 hours in advance. She said she needs notice for visitors because it's her home now. My stomach dropped. She said what? Dad just stood there, Blake, just stood there while she told me that their house isn't a drop-in situation anymore. When I asked Dad if he was serious, you know what he said? What? He said, your sister makes a fair point, Emma. We do value our privacy. Sister. He called her my sister. She's been in his life for less than a year. I'm coming over. Where are you? Don't bother. I'm done. I just wanted to warn you before she starts with you too. Emma was right. 2 weeks later, Sarah and I drove to Dad's house for his birthday. Vanessa answered the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Blake, Sarah, what a surprise. It's Dad's birthday, I said, holding up the gift bag. We wanted to stop by. Oh, how thoughtful. But Richard's not feeling well today. He's resting. He's sick. Why didn't he call me? It's just a headache, nothing serious. But you know how he is when he's not feeling well. Very particular about his quiet time. Sarah stepped forward. We'll just say hi real quick. We won't stay long. Vanessa's smile hardened. I really don't think that's a good idea. He specifically said no visitors. That's when I heard Dad's voice from inside. Vanessa? Who's at the door? Just some solicitors, honey. I'm handling it. She started closing the door, but I put my foot in the gap. Dad, it's Blake. Blake? Dad appeared behind Vanessa, looking perfectly healthy, not sick at all. What are you doing here? It's your birthday. We brought you a gift. He glanced at Vanessa, then back at me. You should have called first, son. We have plans. Plans? You told me last week you were free today. Things changed. Vanessa made reservations. Vanessa wrapped her arm around his waist. It's our couple time, Blake. Surely you understand how important that is, being in a relationship yourself. Sarah grabbed my hand. We understand, Blake. Let's go. We left. Dad called the next day with some excuse about being stressed, but the damage was done. The final straw came 6 months later. Sarah and I got engaged, and I called Dad immediately. That's great, son. Congratulations. Thanks, Dad. I wanted you to be the first to know. Well, after Sarah's parents. I'm honored. When's the big day? We're thinking next June. Sarah wants a summer wedding. Perfect. Vanessa and I will be there. Actually, Dad, I was hoping we could talk about something. I'd really love it if you'd be my best man. Silence. Dad? Blake, that's a big ask. You're my father. I know, but Vanessa and I talked, and we think it might be better if I just attend as a guest. She feels uncomfortable with me being so involved in the wedding party when she and Sarah aren't close. My blood ran cold. What does Vanessa have to do with you being my best man? She's my wife, Blake. Her feelings matter. And what about my feelings? I'm your son. Don't raise your voice at me. I'm trying to have a mature conversation here. Mature? You're letting your wife dictate whether you'll stand up at your own son's wedding. That's not what's happening. I just think it's better this way. Less drama. I hung up. Emma called me an hour later. He told you no, didn't he? How did you know? Because Vanessa called me yesterday asking questions about your wedding. Wanted to know if you'd asked Dad to be best man yet. I should have warned you, Blake. I'm sorry. What's her endgame here, Em? What does she get out of isolating him from us? Control, complete and total control. And Blake, there's something else you should know. What? Mom ran into Dad's old coworker, Jim, last week. Jim said Dad's been telling people at his office that we're difficult, that we don't respect his new marriage. That's when I knew. My father was gone, replaced by whatever Vanessa wanted him to be. I started paying attention after that, really paying attention. And what I found made my decision easier. My cousin Derek worked at the country club where Dad and Vanessa were members. I took him to lunch the next week. Dude, I probably shouldn't tell you this, Derek said, picking at his sandwich. But your stepmom's something else. What do you mean? She comes in almost every day for tennis, always talking on her phone, really loud, complaining about something. Last week I heard her telling someone that she finally got Richard to cut back on wasteful family expenses. Family expenses? That's what she said. Her friend asked what she meant, and Vanessa said something like, he was sending his kids money for every little thing, birthdays, holidays, emergencies. I put a stop to that real quick. I pulled out my phone. When was this? Tuesday. Why? Because Emma's transmission died Tuesday. She asked Dad for a loan, and he said he couldn't help her, said money was tight. Derek shook his head. Money's not tight, man. They just dropped 15 grand on a new boat. Sarah found more pieces of the puzzle. She was friends with Dad's neighbor on social media, a woman named Patricia who'd known Dad for years. Blake, look at this, Sarah said one night, showing me her phone. Patricia posted about your dad's 4th of July party. Says she wasn't invited this year for the first time in a decade. I read the post. Patricia had written, sad to miss the annual Miller Bash. New management has different priorities, I guess. I called Patricia the next day. Blake, how are you, sweetheart? I'm okay, Patricia. I saw your post about Dad's party. She sighed. Oh, honey, I shouldn't have written that. It was petty. No, I want to know what happened. Vanessa happened. She told your father that they needed to curate their social circle to reflect their new life together. Anyone who was closer to your mother didn't make the cut. Neither did family friends who might have opinions about their relationship. Did Dad agree with this? Your father doesn't seem to agree or disagree with much these days. He just goes along with whatever Vanessa wants. It's like watching someone sleepwalk through their own life. My mom provided the most damning evidence, though she did it reluctantly. Blake, I don't want to poison you against your father, Mom said when I visited her. But you asked, so I'll tell you. Tell me what? Your father called me last month, said he wanted to talk about your wedding. He called you? He said Vanessa thinks it's inappropriate for both of us to walk you down the aisle, that it sends the wrong message about their marriage. What message could it possibly send? That he still has ties to his old life. That's how Vanessa sees it. Everything before her is his old life that needs to be erased. What did you tell him? I told him that if you want both your parents there, both your parents will be there. And if he has a problem with that, he should grow a spine and be a father. What did he say? Mom's eyes filled with tears. He said I was being disrespectful to Vanessa and that he'd have to think about whether he could attend at all if I was going to have that attitude. I sat down hard. He threatened not to come to my wedding? I'm sorry, Blake. I know this hurts. It did hurt, but it also crystallized everything. I called Emma, Sarah, and my best friend Marcus for an emergency meeting at my apartment. Here's what I'm thinking, I said, laying out my plan. I'm not inviting him. Emma's eyes went wide. Seriously? He's made it clear that Vanessa's comfort matters more than his relationship with his own kids. So I'm going to show him what it feels like to be excluded from something important. Marcus leaned forward. You sure about this, man? There's no taking it back once you send out invitations. I'm sure. He chose her over us at every turn. Now he gets to live with that choice. Sarah squeezed my hand. I support whatever you decide. But Blake, you need to be prepared for the fallout. I know. That's why I need you all on board. When he finds out, when Vanessa starts making calls and causing drama, I need to know you've got my back. Emma stood up. I'm in. He stopped being my dad the day he let her kick me out of his house. Marcus nodded. You know I'm with you. Sarah kissed my cheek. Always. Good, because this is just the beginning. The invitations went out 3 months before the wedding. Dad wasn't on the list. Neither was Vanessa. He showed up at my apartment 2 days later, pounding on the door. Blake, Open this door right now. I opened it. He looked furious, waving an invitation in his hand. What is this? What does it look like? This is Emma's invitation. Why didn't I get one? Because you're not invited. His face went purple. Not invited? I'm your father. Really? When's the last time you acted like it? Vanessa appeared behind him. Of course she did. Blake, this is completely unacceptable. I don't remember inviting you into this conversation, Vanessa. Don't speak to my wife that way, Dad shouted. Or what? You'll stop talking to me? Too late. I kept my eyes on Dad. Go ahead. Tell me how this is all my fault. Tell me how I'm disrespecting your marriage. Dad's voice shook. You're being a spoiled brat. All because I found happiness again. You abandoned your children. You let that woman isolate you from everyone who ever cared about you. Vanessa stepped forward. How dare you? I've done nothing but try to be part of this family. You told Emma she needed 48 hours notice to visit. You convinced Dad to stop helping us financially. You've systematically cut us out of his life. Dad grabbed my arm. You ungrateful. I jerked away. Don't touch me. I gave you everything, paid for your college, and you think that buys you the right to treat me like garbage now? Vanessa's voice turned cold. Richard, we should go. No. I turned back to Dad. You made your choice. You chose her comfort over your children's feelings at every turn. So now you get to miss the biggest day of my life. Blake, please, we can work this out. How? You gonna tell her that your son matters more than her insecurities? Silence. That's what I thought. You're making a huge mistake, Dad said quietly. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is wasting 2 years trying to have a relationship with someone who clearly doesn't want one. Fine, Dad's expression hardened. Don't come crying to me when you need help. You're on your own. I've been on my own since you married her. He stepped closer, his finger jabbing at my chest. You think you can embarrass me like this? I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of son you really are. Are you threatening me? I'm promising you. You do this and you're dead to me. Sarah stepped between us. I think you should leave now. Dad shoved her aside, not hard, but enough to make her stumble. Marcus caught her. Get out. Get out right now before I call the police. You're going to regret this. Dad was screaming now, completely unhinged. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm calling 911. Dad looked at all of us, at the phone in Marcus's hand, at Sarah rubbing her shoulder. This isn't over, he said quietly. Yeah, Dad, it is. The police came. Sarah insisted on filing a report. It's the principal, she said to the officer. He put his hands on me in our own home. The officer nodded. And you have witnesses? Marcus spoke up. I saw everything. He shoved her when she tried to get between him and Blake. I saw it too, Emma said. I can also testify to his pattern of aggressive behavior. The officer looked at me. Do you want to press charges? What are my options? With witnesses, we could pursue assault charges. Likely probation, maybe anger management classes. Do it. Dad was arrested the next day. Vanessa called, screaming about lawyers. I blocked her number. The wedding was perfect. Mom walked me down the aisle. Emma was my best man. Sarah looked like a dream. During the reception, Patricia found me. Your father called me today. He wanted to know if I was at the wedding. When I said yes, he asked me to tell you he was sorry. What did you tell him? I told him that apologies need to be made in person, and that maybe, if he'd been brave enough to stand up to his wife, he wouldn't have missed his son's wedding. Later, Mom found me. Blake, your father's outside. Says he needs to talk to you. Sarah appeared at my elbow. You don't have to see him. No, I want to. I want him to see what he missed. I went outside. Dad was standing by his car, still in jeans and a polo. Blake, please, can we talk? You're not supposed to be here. I needed to see you, needed to tell you I'm sorry. Sorry for what? For choosing Vanessa over your kids? For shoving my fiancé? For all of it. I was wrong. Or did Vanessa send you here to smooth things over? She doesn't know I'm here. We've been fighting all week. Good. You should be fighting. Blake, you're my son. We can fix this. No, we can't. Please, I'm begging you. You shut me out 2 years ago. You made your choice every single day. You chose her comfort over my feelings, her demands over Emma's needs. I'll make it right. I'll talk to Vanessa, set boundaries. You should have done that before you missed my wedding, before you put your hands on Sarah. What do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything from you anymore. I stopped needing you the day you made it clear I came second to your wife. Please, I'm your father. You were my father. Now you're just the guy who taught me exactly the kind of man I don't want to be. I turned to walk back inside. Blake, wait. I stopped, looked back. The court date is next month. Make sure you show up. It's the only time you're going to see me for a very long time. Emma, Marcus, and Sarah were waiting inside. You okay? Sarah asked. Yeah, I am. Marcus raised his glass. To new beginnings. We all clinked glasses. Through the window, I could see Dad still standing in the parking lot alone. 6 months later, I heard Dad and Vanessa were in counseling. Emma told me he'd called her too, asking for another chance. What did you tell him? I asked. The same thing you did, that some choices have permanent consequences. Any regrets? Not one. You? I looked at Sarah, curled up next to me on our couch in our new house. Not one, I said, because sometimes the best revenge is just living well without the people who didn't value you. So what do you think? Has a parent ever chosen a new partner over you? How did you handle it? Drop your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true stories.